Engaging in spaces where people are different from us is not just good for us as adults, it's also really good for our kids. When we can show that we're comfortable being uncomfortable, it also helps our kids feel more relaxed in that setting. So we are role models, but we have a lot to learn from our children as well. One of the reasons this is so important is because God has created us all uniquely. And so to understand who God is, we need to get into the spaces of the images of God, the diversity that God has created. It helps us to be more empathetic to people who have different perspectives or different experiences from us. When my kids were younger, I thought a lot about this. And as I was raising them in Bangladesh, I started to talk to different people, read books, and the internet also came around, so I started researching. I came across one project where they worked with small children, 3, 4-year-olds, and they would show them a glass of juice. And then they would put that glass behind a barrier and place an adult with that glass, and they would give them a different sized glass. And they would say to the child, "Your glass is bigger." But the child who had grown up in a bilingual home or had been in cross-cultural spaces knew whether they were telling the truth or not. The child who hadn't, who had one language at home, had never left a very intimate community, would agree, yes, my glass is bigger. This had such an impact on me because it showed that even young children have the power to understand the other person, what the other person has, what the other person feels, even if they can't see it. And so I really wanted my children to learn the capacity for empathy, and I was excited that I could raise them in a space where this would come naturally because they were dealing with people of different backgrounds, different ideas, and different understandings of life. After living overseas for more than 15 years, it was time for our family to transition to a different place. So we spent some time in the United States. Our middle daughter was in 6th grade, and she came home from school one day and said to us with all innocence, "What is a Super Bowl?" She thought maybe it was a huge bowl of fruit, or maybe some special dish that Americans like. And as my husband explained to her that this had to do with sports, all 3 of our kids had aha moments. They had no idea what a Super Bowl was. They didn't know it had to do with sports and not food, although I do think Super Bowl does have a lot to do with food. This experience of my kids engaging in North America for the first time helped me understand that there were parts of my culture that they would never understand the same way as I do, and that this would be part of their life forever. Even today, our kids who are in university and high school talk about what they miss from living overseas. They talk about the things that are different here in the United States than they were overseas, and they seem to be really comfortable with other kids who grew up in different cultures. They've embraced a new type of understanding of the world that they really like, and I love seeing it in them. But it means they will always be uncomfortable to some extent. And yet this is the way we all are. There will always be something that we're not quite comfortable with. But if we don't lean into these spaces, we'll have a very limited understanding of ourselves, of God, and of the created world. So I know for myself, having my kids exposed to all these different ways of thinking, of understanding who God is, of understanding how to eat and what to eat, of understanding what's important for that cultural context, is very rich, and I wouldn't take it from them, even in times when it's hard, when they miss their friends from a different country, when they miss the way of life we had in a different space. If you're a parent and you're thinking now, how can I get my kids into spaces where they can interact with people that are different from them? Sit and think about that for a minute. What spaces do you think you would be comfortable bringing them to with you? Are there people that you know that maybe could invite them over and give them an opportunity to be in a different space? If you're thinking right now about moving your family and actually going to a different country or a different cultural setting, what are some of the challenges you think you'll need to prepare for, and how can you do that? Who can you reach out to help you learn and consider? And also, what ways could you posture yourself to show your children that it's okay, that hard things might happen, that there will be confusing things, but you'll get through it and you'll learn from it? As I shared through my story of research, early exposure to different cultures is foundational for our children to learn empathy. So I encourage you to think about the ways that you can walk alongside with your child into spaces that are different than your own. Take them with you when you go to the grocery store and look at different food. Encourage them to try different foods. Maybe watch a cartoon that's their favorite, but in a different language. Talk to them about what this is like. Do an experience with them so that you can show them it's okay. And then get curious with them. Their questions might be different than anything you've considered, and you'll learn from the experience as well. Finally, look for people who've already experienced this as a family. Ask parents, what were the challenges? What were the good things? And be encouraged and learn from their experiences as well. And if you yourself have engaged in cross-cultural relationships with your family, make sure you talk about it. Share that. Share it as part of how you discovered a different aspect to your understanding of who God is and the world that He has created.